Hey everybody, Ryan from the SEO cohort back again to do a 5-minute SEO audit. Thanks to Jeremy for sharing this site. This is Passages, which is a great nonprofit organization, and we're going to do a quick SEO audit of the site. So right upon looking at it, can start to get a layout. You know, the homepage has a little bit of text here. You can say there may be some design issues in terms of making sure that everything is readable from a contrast perspective and, you know, kind of fits on one screen depending on what size screen you're on. But the context is fairly light. There's not a whole lot of content on the homepage, and it's pretty consistent as we dive through these other pages. You know, we've got maybe about a paragraph of information here, and this starts to get into some of the more specific programming, but once we go for more information, again, we have kind of a lack of content. So this is going to be one of the real challenges of the site, is just a lack of in-depth content that really helps users understand what this organization offers and helps answer questions. So, you know, one of the things that I'm noticing is that there may be some brand and service offering positioning work that needs to be done. Now, this work may have been done behind the scenes and may have not made it to the website. If that's the case, I would just recommend making sure that great content and context makes it to the site. If not, though, it could be a good project to really work through the organization's brand and positioning to really clarify and get that rich context for the site. You know, when I look at the design, one of the tools that I like to use is a Chrome plugin called BuiltWith. And when I use that, I can see that this site is built on Wix. From my experience, Wix can be a challenging content management system when it comes to SEO because it does tend to slow down sites. And when I say that, there's a lot of server requests and just a lot of issues that I've seen historically, and that impacts SEO because page speed is a ranking factor. And also from a usability perspective, people want pages to load quickly, and that's not necessarily something that's happening here. In fact, I'm using another one of the many free site speed tests out there, this one from Pingdom, and the site grades out at a C, 79 out of 100, so not the worst I've seen, but you can see that most of the issues are coming from lots of server requests, and a lot of these are really just tied to Wix and how they structure their sites. So when I dive into how the site is actually performing, I see a couple things. So in 2019, towards the end of 2019, the site was ranking for a couple keywords. I would say in the couple dozens, 60 to 75. Now this is interesting. It times out with the beginning of COVID. March, April, we see a large downtick. It could also correlate with algorithm updates. It could also correlate with a website redesign. So we'd want to dive in a little bit deeper with the organization. But they've really plateaued ever since then, and really only ranking for, like 20 keywords. So not a whole lot of value there. And really that can be tied to the fact that there's just not a lot of content for Google to index here. It doesn't really know what the site is about, who it's for, or what the value is. So when I think about the opportunities here, a couple things. Number one, I would probably recommend getting off of Wix, as I mentioned. Number one, it's problematic just the way it's set up from a site speed and usability perspective, but there are far better, more flexible CMS platforms out there. I know that can be a big lift for a lot of organizations, but it would be one of my first recommendations. The second thing I would do is really to go through, I mentioned brand positioning, and understand what do we want to say on this website, who is it for, and really start to understand, some of the topics that we're trying to drive traffic to the site when they search that topic in keyword or in Google search. And then, what I find is that most of the pages really aren't optimized. So usually when you see like home in the meta title, for example, it shows that that's kind of just the default, whatever the default optimizations are happening there, right? So full baseline kind of optimizations with meta titles, meta descriptions, and headers, things like that. Definitely need to go through all those things and make sure that content is built out so that each page has one unique purpose, is optimized for keywords. So there's a lot that can be done here. And if you want to learn how to do this kind of auditing and identify these recommendations, go to www.theseocohort.com and we'll teach you how to do it. Thanks.